The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. As always, we are brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Going to go ahead and put them in the top right-hand corner so you know where to go if you are in the market for a new used vehicle. You can go ahead and check out our friends. Top right-hand corner of the screen right there, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. One of the ways we do that, of course, is highlighting our great athletes that we have on the YSN family. We are going to do that today as well. We have swimming today. If you're a swimming fan, this is the show for you. We venture into Hubbard. They are the NE8 champions for the first time in their program's history on the girls' side. And we have Noelle Cheney, one of their swimmers that's going to be featured on today's show. We have actually 3 swimmers that you're going to see profiles from on the show in the coming days. So one of 3, Noelle Cheney, a great conversation with her about not just swimming, but education as well. Noelle was sitting at a 4.0 GPA, which is ultra impressive, deserves to be highlighted, deserves to be put on a spotlight. And we are going to do that today with her player profile a little bit later on the show. As always, we're going to recap what happened last night, Wednesday action of girls basketball, and then we will preview what's going to happen tonight before we get out of here on this show. So without further ado, let's go into the scoreboard on ysnlive.com, which is presented by Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs. As always, the YSN scoreboard is a great tool, whether you are at one of the games or watching one of our broadcasts, or hopefully both, because that would be a great usage of your time. Either way, you don't want to look away from the action for too long, and the YSN scoreboard is a great, easy way to quickly get live, updated scores on your favorite teams across the area, whether it be your friends or rivals. We have a great team behind the scenes that makes sure these scores are as live updated as possible and that you don't have to wait until midnight for the final scores to come in. So we venture into Wednesday's action, and we start in the AAC where a big one happened. Fitch gets the win over Howland in overtime, 54-50. And, well, what that means is, of course, Boardman, without playing an AAC game last night, actually they went to Warren Harding, they got the win. But Boardman, with their win and Howland's loss, they are the AAC champions. They have locked that down. They cannot be beat out of the AAC, and that is the first time since 2006 that Boardman girls basketball has won the conference. So congratulations to Boardman on a great feat there. They've had a great season. Couple of ups, a couple of downs, mostly ups, and Boardman able to secure that conference championship last night with the win and the loss from Howland as well. We go into Geneva and Conneaut in the 4-4-0 in Ashtabula County, and it is Geneva that gets to win 67-41. We have West Branch and Salem, the old-fashioned rivalry, getting together. It was a very competitive basketball game. Salem is much improved in the second half of the season, but West Branch is still just a tick better. They win 40-34. Big night for West Branch because their point guard, Sophia Gregory, got 1,000 career points. So congratulations to her. We know that she probably would have gotten it a lot sooner if she didn't have to miss the big chunk of last year. So ultra impressive with the games that she's been able to play. Pretty much when you count them up, it goes into 3 years of varsity play. Yes, she got the second half of. I'm not even going to call it the second half. Second chunk, I guess I could say, of last year's season, but she was robbed a big part of last year's season with injury. So to be able to lose those games and still come out with 1,000 career points is a testament to her, especially because I've said it before. Sophia Gregory is a player that, because she's a point guard and because she's a very good point guard, she sacrifices probably 6 to 8 points per game just to get her teammates involved and to spread the ball around and to find really good shots. So if she had to, if she needed to, if she wanted to, she could probably be scoring, 14, 15 points per, but she sacrifices about 6 or 8 points per game just to make sure, like everyone else is scoring, we're getting the best shot possible. We're moving the ball around. We're distributing. So Sophia Gregory, very good player, 1,000-point scorer, and it goes kind of beyond that. I mean, I know 1,000-point scorers get kind of watered down nowadays, and we don't get as excited about them. But when you know those kind of factors, that she missed a huge chunk of last year's season, and that, she's responsible for a lot of points, even if they're not hers. Assists, with the assists she's able to get, 1,000 career points becomes even more impressive for Sophia Gregory. And she's going to be obviously a future YSU Penguin for a reason. She's a Division I basketball player for a reason. And happy to see her finally hit that milestone. West Branch gets the win 40-24. Livy Showalter also has a big day for West Branch last night. The Blue Streaks of Madison came into Jefferson second place in the conference, trying to keep some pace, but Jefferson had other plans. The Falcons upset the Blue Streaks. Final score there, 50-44. Big win for Jefferson, probably the biggest win of their season. Middle Ridge hosted Lordstown. No problems for the Rams as they win 66-13. Edgewood falls for the first time this year as Perry comes into Edgewood and gets revenge from an earlier season loss, and they beat the Warriors 45-36. Final score there. So the Pirates split with the Warriors inside that CVC, and they get some solid revenge over an overtime loss to Edgewood earlier on in the season. A good one happened in Kirtland as Grand Valley went to the Hornets' Nest, tried to overcome Kirtland but could not. 44-34. Final score there. Grand Valley falls to the Hornets. Wellsville went to Sebring last night. Big win for them. 61-26, the final score. Tigers get the win on the road outside of the conference. Southern Local hosts Heartland Christian last night and got the win 59-47. Indians continue to roll. A big night in Hanoverton. They welcomed in Maplewood, and although the Rockets came in with their impressive record and did beat the Eagles 63-43, Grace Knight for the Eagles got her 1,000th career point. So a milestone check for her great career. And she only needed, I think, 4 or 5 points coming in, and she got that and more. So Grace Knight, 1,000 points and counting. She is just the 4th player in United Basketball, girls basketball history to get 1,000 points. And one of the things that makes that really shocking to me when I heard it is, like, you think of the really good teams they had back in the 2008 to 2014, the multiple league championships, the 5 in a row that they were a part of, the district championship in 13 when Emily Zettenbauer was a senior. There have been a lot of really good players, Emily Zettenbauer being one of them. Went on to play basketball at why is the name Baldwin Wallace, I think, if I'm not, no, Wooster? Okay, I'll remember. She went on to play basketball in college. The college will eventually pop up in my brain. But players like Mackenzie Gatchall, players like um, Rachel Sell. I mean, really good basketball players in my era when I was watching United play in the IGCL. So the fact that there's only four of them that have reached 1,000 career points, that's impressive. But then when I was thinking about it even more, I was like, you know what? Those United teams, they were good balanced teams. They didn't have their one player that was out scoring, 15, 30, 20 points per game. So actually kind of understandable that the way that program was set up in its heyday, that they didn't have 1,000 point score. They probably had, in that time between 2008 and 2014, I would imagine United had maybe 5 or 6 scores that got into the 700s or 800s, right there. And they had a lot of good basketball players, a lot of players that went on to play in college, of course. But because of how balanced they were and because of how much talent they had on the floor at once, it all demanded their own spotlight, I guess I should say. Um, you kind of don't get that 1,000 point scorer, do you? You kind of you got to share the wealth a little bit. And because also Roger Ziegler, who was there for most of that run, was a very defensive minded coach. Um, Not a whole ton of blowing out people with offense in those days either. They were more of a hold teams down with our full court press that just suffocates people to no end. They were that kind of team back in the day. So, um, as surprised as I was when I initially heard only 4 girls basketball players have gotten to 1,000 points at United, as I thought about it and sat on it, I was like, you know what? The way that team was built in that run where they won 5 straight conference championships, it makes sense. They weren't that team that had the superstar that went out and scored you 15, 20 points per game like you have to do to get 1,000 career points, especially back then when a lot of players weren't ready to play those freshmen. We're seeing a lot more players this year or this in this day and age. I can't believe I have to say that about my own high school um, era, but basketball has changed. We see a lot more freshmen come on and make impacts immediately on the floor than we used to. And I think that's a big reason why Grace Knight obviously gets to 1,000 points. She came in as a freshman and was immediately belonged on that varsity floor. And she has had 4 years of being a really good basketball player to get to 1,000 career points. So, um, you're seeing it more because players are more ready to come in as a freshman and play right away than you used to, and that's also a factor. So, as surprised as I was when I initially heard it was only 4 players, when I sat and stewed on it a little bit, I was like, you know what? That's not really that surprising. Not because United was a bad program; they were a great program, but because they had so much talent in the same era that there was just too much wealth to really spread around. They weren't going to get one player to score that many points. They probably, like I said, they probably have 6 or 7 players in that 2008 to 2014 realm that were, that 700 to 800 where they were there, they were scoring, they were doing great things. They just too much wealth to share to get to 1,000. So congratulations to Grace Knight, 1,000 career points for United. We know that the whole Hanoverton community and Ysn indefinitely is proud of that accomplishment. You can find a player profile with Grace Knight, by the way, on ysnlive.com as well. Harvey goes to Lakeside as we continue the scoreboard, and they win by 10 over the Dragons, 45-35, the final score there. Orange last night gets the win 39-31 over Hawken. And last but not least, in the AAC, Boardman goes and beats Warren Harding on the road 47-41. They're always getting into close games. But Boardman, more times than not, finds a way to win those close games. And then on the boys' side, we saw Heartland Christian also on the road on the boys' side. Their girls were at Southern. Their boys were at Lordstown, and the boys won 91-41, a big offensive output for the Lions there, as they're able to get the easy victory on the road in Lordstown. I want to go look at these standings because, as I said, Boardman secured the AAC championship, so I want to pull them up real quick here. Standings on ysnlive.com are brought to you by R.L. Craig. As we look at the AAC on the girls' side, you'll quickly see Boardman's record. There is they are now 2 games up, 6-1 in the AAC. And as you know, you play 8, so one more game to go. No one can get them. Fitch was right there. Howland was the only team that was left that could force a tie, but because Howland lost last night and Boardman won, that championship is wrapped up. Boardman are your AAC champions. Canfield on the other side, as we look at the boys, they're still tied up with Warren Harding at 4-1, Fitch 4-2, Howland 2-4, and Boardman 0-6 in the AAC. They have 2 more games left in their AAC schedule. 3, sorry. 4-1 is 5. Simple math, not my forte. So we'll go back to the scoreboard for now, and we will come back to our previews a little bit later on in the show. So keep that YSN scoreboard in your mind, brought to you by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs, as we take it off for a minute. And we talk to you about something that is really special about today, right? Today is National Girls and Women in Sports Day. We want to celebrate it. Of course, it's a Thursday, so it's Girls Night on YSN. We love that. But as someone that, you heard on Power Hour on Monday, me and DJ talked about it. I have been a very strong supporter of women's sports since I was in high school. And it's basically, I think it's the same reason why a lot of people gravitate towards the women's game once they see it. They realize quickly, like, this does not have the support that it needs to have. And I was blessed enough to go to high school with very talented, female athletes. And at the time, to be quite frank, they were outshining our male athletes at South Range at that point in time. Our basketball team wasn't great on the boys' side. It was one of the only years, my junior year, where Coach Yeagley did not make the playoffs as a football team. Made it my senior year. We got the privilege of playing Keith Teagan Ursuline at Stambaugh Stadium. That wasn't fun. But, our girls' teams were, our softball team that year went to regionals for the first year in a long time. They went to regionals my junior and senior year. The basketball team was living on fumes, and they won the ITCL my senior year. They went to district championship game, lost to Ursuline like the football team did. Ursuline was just kicking South Range's butt back when I was in high school and everything they could do. But the point is, you go and you start to realize, like, there's talent here, and it's not I realized really quick it's not being supported back when I was in high school, and that's what got me into it. And now we're here, and 11 years later, I'm trying to lead the charge into covering girls sports in our area. And, we get a comment that says, look at the crowd size between girls and boys basketball. That's still true. We are making progress in women's sports. That's for sure. We are a lot better off than we were 10 years ago. But you can't be satisfied when you're trying to grow something, right? When you're trying to cultivate it and turn it into something that you want to see get what it deserves, I guess I should say. We're not there yet. We're not where we want to be. And it's a process. It really is. You look at it, girls sports really started in the 70s with Title IX. So it's 30, 40, we're sitting at 50 years, that we've been having it. Male sports have, a 50, 60, 70 year jump on it. So, I know it's easy to get really impatient when you're trying to grow women's sports and you're trying to get it what it deserves. You keep seeing stories of, the NCAA basketball tournament giving them a, shoddy equipment room when in the COVID year when they had to have it at an offsite, and you look at that compared to what the men got, and it was like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. You're the same, you still see stuff like that pop up, but the great thing is that we are much further than we have been, and we are making progress, and you have to look at that and just be like, okay, where we have to keep treading. We have to be our little ducks with our feet moving on the pond. We have to keep getting there, and we can't get discouraged on the things that do pop up every now and then. They go, we're still not there yet. We're still not there yet. And if you want something that says, if you think we're still there, just go on ESPN, any article or social media post about any girl sport. Look at the comments. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. We're pushing forward. We're not there yet. Trust me, we're not there yet, but we're progressing. I want to take the time to honor all the great female athletes that I've met in my life. You can see a lot of them on the wall behind me. Tennessee softball back there. You see South Range softball right there. All the softballs in my room. If you could see behind me, I have a bunch of softball stuff back here from the Akron Racers and professional softball. Of course, all my Georgia Tech girls. Let's go. Um, couldn't just be blessed enough with the friends I've made through supporting and trying to help grow female athletes, and that trickles down into the local level and the people that I've been able to meet in all these great girls programs that we've been able to cover at YSN. Um, we want to just lift it up and be like, let's go. This is the day where we lead the charge a little bit. We put our fists in the air and we say this is our day for the people that do support women's sports. So celebrate it today. Go out there, support girls sports today, every day, but today especially. Get out to some girls games. It's a Thursday. It's Girls Night on the Network. Check them out on YSN Live. We'll get to the preview to you. We'll tell you what games will be on the network today. I am proud to work for a company that puts the girls in the same place the guys do. So it's always even. It's right there. They get the same coverage. They get the same announcers of the games. There's never a day where I feel like YSN is falling short on that. So proud to be on a company that puts that as a premium and make sure that that's a priority. We will continue to do that. I promise you, as long as I'm a member of YSN, we will continue to do that, and I plan to be here for a long time. So I'm not going anywhere. So we're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep making sure that the growth of the women's game is a priority here at YSN, and can't wait to keep moving it forward, whether it be basketball, volleyball, softball, swimming. You're going to hear from a great female swimmer from Hubbard today. We lift all of our female athletes up, and we know that they're doing a lot of great work, and because of the work they're doing, we're going to keep seeing progress, and the people of the future are going to be in an even better spot. We thank, and we can't thank enough the women that led the charge back in the 80s and in the 70s when it was just completely messed up back then, because they paved the way, right? So we have to keep paving the way, though, because the road is not clear. The road is not clear of boulders. It's not clear of obstacles. We're going to keep paving the way so that the girls of the future, the fifth graders now, when they get in high school, they can have better experiences, even better. They can have bigger crowds. They can have music intro them. Oh, that was something in high school I fought. Like, the guys are getting intro music. Why aren't, come on, it's so simple. There are simple things that we still just kind of overlook that aren't given the same amount of attention. So we will continue to push forward at YSN. I will continue to put forward personally and support all the female athletes in my life, and I hope you do the same as we chart International Women's Sports Day. Tag someone on social media today, your favorite female athlete, whether it be on the YSN network, whether it be in the national sports news, whether it be someone in your past, someone in your life. I don't care. I want to see a bunch of stuff about your favorite female athletes today. And that's what I will do if you follow my social media accounts for sure. I want to see it and I want to hear it. I want to hear all about it. Absolutely. Shout out to all the women athletes, everyone out there. We love you. We support you. And we can't wait to keep pushing forward with you. Like I said, we have made a ton of progress. We are at a place where we are, seen as fans of female sports. But like I said, we're not there yet. We're keep pushing. I just read an article today that softball on ESPN, there's going to be 3,200 live softball games broadcasted on the ESPN family networks this year. And it starts on linear television for the first time ever. ESPN is going to put the first week of softball on ESPN, not ESPN Plus, not ESPN 3, not ESPN 2. It's going to be on ESPN in a week, February, leading off top 25 matchups. So when people like that start to see that, hey, there is a benefit to putting coverage on female sports, especially a sport like softball, which the numbers back up in the college level. You can go and look. I'm not making it up. In college sports, softball runs the spring. It's not baseball. Softball beats them in ratings. So the more channels like ESPN and broadcast networks that decide that, hey, softball is something that just mathematically deserves to be put money into for our coverage, the better we'll get. And ESPN understands that. I know there's a lot of things to knock on ESPN. There's a lot of things that you can probably not like about the direction they're taking, but I will never, ever not tip the hat to that network on what they do for softball, at least, because they run the show for that. And like I said, 3,200 live softball, college softball games on the family networks on ESPN this year. That increases the number that they did last year, and they will hopefully they'll continue to do that, and they'll continue to have more channels to try to follow their lead and do that as well. So once again, Live Point, happy National Women and Girls in Sports Day. Celebrate it like we do, and tell the female athlete in your life how much you appreciate the work they put in to their sport. On that note, we're going to take a break. We're going to take a commercial break on Running Point. When we come back, we will hear from a female athlete. It'll be Noelle Cheney from Hubbard swimming dive team that just won the NE8 championship for the first time in program history. We'll hear about her journey and her career when we come back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. Push the envelope every day. Try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
What can you do on over 5,000 acres? At Mill Creek Metro Parks, you can discover unique habitats and wildlife, create memorable family moments, experience history, heritage, and park programs, explore scenic landscapes, take time to relax and be well, connect with nature and each other. Come see what's new at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Plan your trip now at millcreekmetroparks.org.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means taking care of our local customers.
And it's just a great feeling to put them in a vehicle and get them all excited about a new vehicle.
At the end of the day, our goal is to be someone our customers can count on.
And every day I'll go the extra mile for the community so they can trust us.
To do anything that would convenience the customer or make them feel more at home.
Realizing, number one, that we're here for them and that we're not going to go away.
That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Hi, this is Zell Bush.
Hi, this is Tom Flynn. Hi, this is Steve Rossetto.
Hi, this is Ryan Miller.
Hi, this is Rich Sakui from WRS Wealth Advisors.
With our combined 80 years of experience, WRS Wealth Advisors are the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services.
Or visit WRSwealth.com.
Go Raiders.
Go Dogs.
Go Cats. Go Dogs. Go Tigers.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
Nestled here in the beauty and splendor of Mill Creek Metro Parks are two of America's best golf courses, as selected by Golf Week magazine. Ranked number 9 in Ohio by TripAdvisor. Come play like a pro on these award-winning Donald Ross-designed courses. Enjoy a round with your kids and unwind with your favorite food and drinks in the grill room. For championship golf, look no further than your backyard. Mill Creek Golf Course.
Hello and welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, who is also, by the way, the sponsor of our next player profile that we're going to feature on Running Point. From Hubbard, it is swimmer Noelle Cheney. The girls team over there at Hubbard is the NE8 champions for the first time in program history. They were able to take down Poland in the NE8 title, as Poland was number 2 in that last race. Great, awesome accomplishment for Hubbard. Now they have their sights set on sectionals. We have a couple of player profiles from that swim team coming up, and Noelle Cheney is first on the tap. And here we go with a player profile featured today on Running Point. So thank you so much to Noelle, and I hope you enjoy this conversation. Anthony Hartwig here. We are live with a Hubbard swimming player profile, first of the year, and it's a special one too. Noelle Cheney joins us from Hubbard. Noelle, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
You and a couple of your teammates are going to be talking to us in the next few days here because Hubbard won the NE8 swimming championships for the first time in their program's history. So first question is, of course, talk about the emotions of that. I know a lot of hard work went into it, and it was one of the goals you had this year. What was it like to realize that the goal was a reality?
It was really special to us, especially with one of our seniors, because she's been swimming throughout almost the entire time that we've been in this conference and competing for this. And we all really try really hard to cheer each other on. And there was really, it's hard to put into words what we felt.
What about, the day of, you're getting ready for it. You're trying to put yourself in the right mental state. I bet you knew it was definitely a possibility. It was definitely there for your grasp. It didn't come out of nowhere. What was it like just kind of getting yourselves in the right mindset and trying to go and compete the best you could on that day?
For me personally, I get a little anxious on those things, but I think I am a lot better when I have those pre-meet nerves. The most nervous that I was in that last race, because we were told we were really close in points. So we were we need to beat Poland in this race. And it just, just, it's the nerves. Oh, goodness. I don't know. It was
They go away as soon as you hit the water, right? It's just the
that,
thing where
yeah.
it's just like boom, you hit it, and your body takes over. What are some of the things that went through your mind? You know, like you said, last race, you close points. You had to beat Poland in this last race. What is it about this team that you can say that lets them make those clutch wins and let you come, let you come together as a unit and make that clutch win in the last race?
I think the four of us in that last relay, we've been pretty much in that relay together the entire season because our coach was like, "Oh, we need these faster people there." But the people who weren't in the race, you could hear them from in the water, no matter how concentrated you were, and you had everybody around you cheering for you, and it just, the excitement of it being the last race and you being so close, it just, your focus, you just, I went so much faster that race because I knew that this is what we had to do, and I had all these teammates behind me cheering me on, and it was just really special.
Let's talk about your swimming and diving kind of journey. When did it start? When did you first kind of get yourself into the pool, and when did you start falling in love with this sport and realizing it was something you really wanted to work on, and it was something that you wanted to really better yourself at?
For me, I started swimming really young. After I stopped um, cheerleading, I wanted to go into a sport, and I knew swimming would be just as much of a workout as that was. So I swam for 2 or 3 years when I was in fourth and fifth grade and around that time. But after that, I stopped for a little bit. But this year, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I really loved all the people that I met in swimming, and I was like, I just really want to go back to that because it helped me with my social skills, and it helped me, and I got to stay in shape, and I just really loved it.
Was there a moment when you realized, like, hey, I got a thing for this? Like, this is something I can be really good at. And then the work ethic even went up higher because you realized, your ceiling was really, really high, and you could really get yourself to far places.
I don't really think there was an exact moment that I for sure felt like that, but I started this year, and I was like, I don't think this I it was between this and one of my other sports for me, but with all of the people there and with everybody saying, "Oh, Noelle, this is like," my mom told me, she looked at me and she said, "Noelle, this is what you need to be doing. You're pretty good at it. This is what you need to be doing." And I agree with her because with all of the people there, plus that aspect, I was just like, I feel like this is where I need to be.
So I'm really interested with when we talk to swimmers, because swimming is a sport where it is a very team sport. You have your relays, you have your teams backing you. You can't do it without them, but it's also kind of individual because when you get in the pool, it's just you in the water, and you have to outswim the people next to you. How do you balance, competing with yourself and trying to be the best you can in that individual nature of the sport with what you need from the team and the team nature of the sport as well?
For me, I'm very much so a person who thinks a lot before things happen. But with swimming, you really can't do that. My coach tells me all the time, he's like, you can't think about this. You have to just swim. You just have to let your body do all the work. And for me, I get really anxious. I get up on the block and I'm about to take off in the race, and I'm like so much in my head that I don't know what to do. But then once you take off and you get in the water, the only thought in your head is out touch the person next to you, out touch the person next to you. So really, it in between races, it's a mental thing. Like, you need to get yourself ready, and sometimes it's hard to do that. But once you hit the pool, there's no other thoughts in your head other than out touch the person next to you.
I think swimming is also very unique in the sense that a lot of people don't understand what swimming shape is. Like, it's not like, hey, we're going to go jump in our family pool and, swim the pool back and forth. Like, there's a swimming in shape that you guys have to get into. Can you talk about kind of what work goes into getting in swimming shape and what kind of, workouts and things you guys do to get yourselves in that physical state?
For Hubbard especially, we since we have a weight room at school, our coach has weightlifting on Tuesdays and Thursdays before school, and then a couple days a week we have dryland 2, which is basically just like a couple workouts for like half an hour before we get into the pool, and then each day we have designated like I don't know exactly. Like we have distance one day, we have kicking one day. One day we focus on one stroke, and then another day we focus on another stroke, and that's about it.
What is your favorite stroke in the medley?
I love breaststroke. I always have. That's just what I feel like I'm best at.
Let's talk about some role models that you have in your life, and it could be in the pool, it could be outside the pool. When you're in one of those days, maybe where it's like, man, swimming is not on my mind, or it's one of those hard days where it's harder to go and work. Who are the people that you listen to, and the people that you kind of hear in your head to keep you going?
My parents are big ones, but it's mainly my grandpa. Before and after every like competition or anything that I have, my grandpa always like sits me down and gives me like a pep talk, and he's like, "Look, I know you're stressed out about this, but it doesn't matter to me how you place as long as you tried your best and you put everything out there that you could."
Let's talk about your schoolwork as well. You're a student athlete. Student comes first in that word for a reason. Talk about your schoolwork, what you like studying, and what are some of your favorite subjects?
I this year I really enjoy chemistry. I'm a 4.0 student, and my goal is to become an orthodontist. So those math and science classes are really like important, and I really like those classes.
All right, so not only do you keep up your athletics, but you also keep up your schoolwork, and you do it in the sense of a 4.0. What's your strategy in balancing what you have to do to put your time in the pool and put your time into the sports, trying to balance a social life, being a kid, and also obviously giving what you need to give to your schoolwork to get a 4.0?
It's interesting. Interestingly enough, it after school, I have a couple periods during the day that like I take difficult classes, but I have a couple periods in the day where I'm able to get some of my schoolwork done, and I try to get as much schoolwork done as I can during the day, unless and if I don't finish it, I get to the pool, I do all my practice time and stuff, and I get home, I'll eat dinner, and then if I need help on something, my dad will always help me. So usually I have a good hour or two when I get home to just be a kid, and like I'll message my friends and we'll go do something. But
we talk to a lot of athletes that have had a lot of successes, and we talk to them about the stresses that success can bring and the expectations and the pressure. What about the pressure of having a 4.0 grade point average? Does that ever bring you kind of like extra pressure where you're like, I really have to keep this up, and I'm on the mountaintop, and there's nowhere to go but down if you have a 4.0? Does that ever kind of get in your head where you're putting a little bit extra pressure on yourself scholastically?
last year it definitely did, because it was freshman year, my first year of like high school, even though I took two high school classes in 8th grade. But this year I feel like it's a lot easier to handle mentally, because the more you're in that boat, the easier it is. And as long as you study and as long as I study and I try, my parents aren't like really big on like pushing me to like they're big on pushing me to keep the 4.0, but they're like, if you try your best and you can't maintain it, it's not that big of a deal to us as long as you're trying. But I do put a lot of pressure on myself to keep that 4.0. As I said, a lot more last year than this year, but it's still, the pressure is there.
Have you always been a really good student, or is that something that you think you've developed over the years and you've kind of gotten, flexed your student muscles a little bit?
My whole family have always been like really academically, like really, we've always been a really academic family. Me and my little brother especially. So really, I wouldn't say it's definitely a skill that you have to learn, but it's also a skill that we've had.
Right. You already said you're a sophomore, but you already have this career path in mind. You want to be an orthodontist, and what kind of is driving you to that path, and what is something that makes you know that that's where you want to go so early in your high school career?
For me, orthodontics has always been something that I wanted to go into. I always went with my older brother to his orthodontist appointments. And in 4th grade, since I'm gifted in a couple subjects, I had to do extra projects in 4th grade. So it was, what do you want to be when you're older? So I was able to make a whole presentation on orthodontics, and my orthodontist let me shadow him for a day and told me about all the stuff that he did. And it's just always been like a peak of my interest, because you see, I know how I felt when I had braces. They are a pain, but once you get them off, you get to see everybody like smile, and they appreciate it so much. And it's just really just always something that I've wanted to do.
As an orthodontist, you're going to be someone that people hate in the moment but appreciate later.
Yeah.
It's the reality of the job. Let's talk, before we let you go, back to the pool. You've already got the NEA championship. Talk about the things that are still on your goal list for this year and the goals that you still have for the rest of the swim season.
For me, especially since sectionals is coming up in a couple weeks, my goal is to make it to districts in 1 or 2 events. We're hoping our 400 relay gets to districts, and we're hoping we can get one other relay. And I would really love it if I was able to get in to districts for one of my individual events too.
All right, Noel, before we let you go, we do this with every player profile we have. We want to take the time to take the light shined off you and let you turn into the people that support you in your life and the people that kind of have your back. I want to give you as much time as you want to give those shout outs out.
Oh my goodness. I really just would love to just shout out to my parents. They have always been my biggest supporters, other than my brothers. My little brother, every time I get home, he always asks me how I did. And shout out to all of my other teammates. I don't know if I definitely couldn't have done this alone. So it's definitely like shout out to them, because this was a team thing. And shout out to Coach Aaron, even though, well, you're our coach. We mess with you sometimes, but shout out to you, because we couldn't do this without you. And shout out to my grandparents, because they come to everything for me, and I don't know what I'd do without them either.
All right, Noel, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate the time. We wish you the best of luck the rest of the swim season. We can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
Noel Cheney, sophomore swimmer from Hubbard, but what is the most impressive thing? Not just that she's a great swimmer, of course. 4.0 GPA. I remember, like, sophomore year sucked for me in high school. It was like probably the hardest year scholastically of my whole schooling career, and that's college included. I mean, I think that the problem was that, like, as a freshman, there's almost like this grace period where they're like, you're in high school now. It's different. But then, like, sophomore year, it goes from 0 to 100. No one cares that you're coming off of high school anymore, and it just hit you like a ton of bricks. Like, hey, this is high school now, and the jump between middle school and high school workload and everything you have to do sophomore year. Oh, it was not fun. And then you account the fact that South Range has a grading scale. At least it did when I was in high school. I don't know what the grading scale is now. I don't know if they've lowered it or not. But when I was in high school at South Range, it was 94 to 100 is an A. And I know almost everywhere else it's at least 92. Sometimes in college it's 90. So when you add that to the fact that sophomore year was not easy, it was not a fun time for Anthony. Anthony had to struggle to survive sophomore year. Junior year, you kind of get used to it. Senior year, you're finishing things up. But sophomore year was just a struggle. So the fact that anytime someone has a 4.0 through sophomore year, I'm like, okay, not saying it's easy junior and senior year. You're gonna eat nothing about a 4.0 is easy, but I tip the hat when you're able to do it through your sophomore year because for my personal experience, sophomore year was the absolute hardest of any year scholastically. I remember when I first got into college, I got a test back. I was so used to 94 to 100. And the first test I got back in college, I got like a 92. And I was like, dang, I got a B like by 2 points. And then I was like, wait a minute, that's right. The grade scale here in college is 90 to 100. Thank you, South Range, for making my standard of excellence so high that thinking a 92 was a B. Awesome. When it wasn't. It was an A. So that's a fun thing. And once again, we love our athletes that go and do great things in the pool, in the court, in the field. But what you do in the classroom is what holds you up forever, right? Eventually, even if you go pro, eventually the sport runs out. Eventually your body can't do it anymore. What can you do after that? That's when you lean on that 4.0, right? The 4.0 that I never had any hopes of getting. So I always am in awe of people that are able to do all that and get good grades. I wasn't even an athlete. So to do all that and get good grades, I am just, we are not worthy. So congratulations to Noelle on her 4.0 so far. No reason to think it won't continue with the work ethic that girl has. So want to thank her for her time, and I will hope that you enjoyed that interview. If you hopped in late and did not see it in its entirety and want to, no worries. That interview with Noelle Cheney is on our YouTube page at YSN Live. It's also on our website attached with an article as well, a very good article with her interview as well. So make sure to check those out if you want to see Noelle Cheney's interview in its entirety. Let's go over the games that are going to be on the network tonight. We'll pop back into the scoreboard on ysnlive.com, presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. We'll go from Wednesday and we'll transfer to Thursday. If you're new to our scoreboard, here's how you do that. You scroll to the bottom of the page and you'll see the dates across there, and you just click on the date which represents what you want. It is February 1st, first day of February. It'll be the longest February because it is a leap year, of course. And we go on to say that Cheney is starting off our scoreboard by hosting Akron East tonight. Warren JFK travels to Badger. That'll be a good game. Warren JFK, a very under-the-radar good team, going up against Badger with, Hannah Myers and Katie Grexa and company. So that should be a fun one down there in Badger. Lakeview in the NE8 traveling to Struthers. We have Brookfield going to Newton Falls tonight. Outside the NE8, Poland hosting Cardinal Mooney as they have a non-conference game. Columbiana will go to Latonia. I should say not host them, go to Latonia. We have East Palestine going to United. So United playing their second game in 2 days. Tonight in the conference, Garrettsville Garfield goes to Crestview as they now have a 2-game lead in the conference, and I think they can square up at least a share tonight if my math on how many teams they've played so far is intact. Girard will go to Hubbard tonight. Jackson Milton going to Heartland Christian. We have LeBray going to Camel. Liberty travels to Champion as the Flashes try to bounce back from their loss. It is also senior night in Champion, so congratulations to their basketball seniors. Lisbon and Wellsville will be doing battle in Wellsville. Niles goes to South Range inside the NE 8. Ursuline goes to Springfield tonight. That should be a really fun out-of-conference matchup for both teams. Western Reserve and Middle Ridge should be a really good game because Middle Ridge, of course, just coming off their win against Springfield. They've officially split with the Tigers, but now the next test is Western Reserve, who's a very good basketball team. Lost 2 games by a combined 3 points to Springfield. So Middle Ridge needs to take care of business at home tonight to keep that tie they worked so hard for against Springfield on Mondays. Obviously, Springfield rooting hard for Western Reserve, and they would love to go back into first place by themselves if Middle Ridge were to drop that game. And Springfield has already beaten Western Reserve twice, by the way, so no hopes there for Western Reserve helping out Middle Ridge if they lose. Mohawk will host Elwood City tonight. Southern Local goes on the road against Shenandoah. Hope I'm saying that right. Toronto comes into Beaver Local tonight. And last but not least, East Liverpool on the road against Oak Glen. We do have a boys game tonight. Ashtabula St. John in action against St. Martin for boys basketball. That'll be in Ashtabula for that one. Let's go over the announcers and who will have you covered for games tonight, who you can see on the network, as it's another night of bountiful action on YSN. Here's who you got on the games for tonight. We have Orange AFK at Badger. Bill Shea will have the call there. Lakeview at Struthers will be handled by Bob and Donna Zaney. Matt Marr and Jordan Barber going to Newton Falls as they welcome in Brookfield. I will be in Poland as they welcome in Cardinal Mooney. Chris Sigler going to United as they handle East Palestine. Tony Perazio going to be on the call for Garrettsville Garfield at Crestview. Zach Svensson in Hubbard for their matchup with Gerard. Larry Scragg will be in Heartland Christian as they welcome in Jackson Milton. Second meeting between those two, Jackson Milton won the first one. We have Steve Hodge on the call for LeBray at Camel. Gary Altizer will be in Wellsville for their matchup with Lisbon. We have South Range and Niles. That's going to be Chris Colucci on the call inside the Thriller Dome at South Range. Urson and Springfield, DJ Oakley going to be on the call there. Ty Bartell going to be in Middle Ridge for their big matchup with Western Reserve, trying to stay in first place in the MVAC. And then Lincoln High School, Elwood City will be at Mohawk. Eric Hughes will be on the call there. Sam Torres will be on the boys side as he has Ashtabula St. John playing St. Martin. That'll be at John Carroll University. So that one's going to be at a college location. Sam Torres will have the call for you there as a part of the 440 group. So that is your rundown of the games that are going to be on the network tonight. Follow the YSN scoreboard, ysnlive.com/scores. Check out the broadcast at ysnlive.com/live. And then we will be back on Running Point tomorrow to recap all the action 1 to 2. As always, we are brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Thank you so much for tuning in today.